Alright, we're back. We're back with some normal games. Alright. Nebulous Fleet Commander. Popped it up, and the first thing it did was pop open this box for the tutorial. Let's go ahead and do that. Basic maneuvers. Oh, they all have. Okay. Jammers, bullseye radar, launchers. Alrighty. Looks like we got small beginnings and dusty tones.
Commander, I'm Lieutenant Hazel. I'll be guiding you through the trials to determine if you're cleared for operations. The brass has their eyes on you, so try not to embarrass me.
Alright.
Let's get you familiar with the view controls first. Hold down the left mouse button and drag the mouse to angle your view. Now use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. And most importantly, moving the view. Use W, A, S, and D to pan the view. E and C will raise and lower your view in the battle space, respectively. And that's it. Let's move on to the actual interface. We're going to select one of our ships now, so sit tight. You can select a ship either by clicking on its icon in the battle space, selecting it in the ship list, or pressing its corresponding number key indicated in the ship list. You've selected a ship. Now if you want to focus your view on the ship, you can use the F key. You can also do this by double tapping the ship's number key to both select and focus on the ship at the same time. When focused, your view will automatically track the selecting unit until you move the view.
Okay.
This ship in particular is the Rains-class frigate. It's the most common warship in the fleets, with a generous balance of speed, agility, armoring, and some good room for a good mix of support modules and weapon systems. You'll also see at the bottom of the screen a readout of the selected ship. This is the ship information bar, and it's a list of the status of modules, weapons, current orders, and the general posture of the warship.
Thrust increased. Point defense turrets, point defense missiles, point defense decoys. Point controls. Comms, radar. Alright.
This window is the damage control status board, and it'll be one of the most important items when in battle, as it shows the condition of all modules on the ship as a color gradient. Green means functional and undamaged, while red means heavy damage. A destroyed module or weapon is indicated in gray. Damage control is a whole can of worms, so we won't be covering that for now. Let's move on. Next, the mount status display. This shows the status of all external mounts on the hull, which could be weapons, defense systems, or utilities.
Alright.
Currently, all of our mounts show green with a black slash, indicating they're operational but idle. If you're ever confused at what a color or a symbol means, you can hover over the color status icon with your mouse to see what's going on.
Okay.
Lastly, we have the posture controls. These define how the ship will operate. From here you can control maneuvers, which sensor systems are enabled, and toggle specific defensive systems. Right now I've disabled most of these so we don't toggle something by mistake, but we'll go over these systems later. So you know how the interface works, but what about issuing an order to a ship? The ANS Small Beginnings is reporting that their drives are online, so we'll get that frigate into a nearby position. Select the ANS Small Beginnings and open the action menu by right-clicking anywhere in the battle space. On the left side of the menu, select the Move or Movement submenu to see all available movement commands. The POS or Position command we'll order the warship to move to a position and hold there. Select position and move the small beginnings within 500 meters of Waypoint Atlas. This is the dial widget, and it will allow you to accurately select a position on the plane the ship is currently on by moving the cursor. You can left-click to confirm an order, or right-click to cancel.
Moving out.
To change the elevation, hold left control and move your cursor up or down. You can also issue waypoints by holding left shift and marking a path. The order will only be confirmed when left shift is released and you click again. Don't forget, if you need to get a better view, you can still hold the left mouse button to angle your view even while the dial is open. When you're ready, lay in a course for the small beginnings to position itself near Waypoint Atlas.
We're ready when you are, Commander. Moving out, Commander.
Okay. As long as we get within 500 of it, we'll be fine.
Moving out, Commander. Understood. We're en route. Moving out, Commander.
In the future, you can also use the M key as a shortcut to issue move to position orders.
We're en route. Moving out, Commander.
Alright.
Now let's talk formations. Because only one ship can be commanded at a time, formations are crucial for grouping your forces and keeping management simple.
Alright.
The ANS Dusty Tome is reporting they're ready for orders, so we'll have them fall in with the small beginnings. Select the Dusty Tome and open the action menu.
How can we help today, Commander?
The Formation command can be found under the Move submenu and is issued with the FRM or Formation button. You can also use the keyboard shortcut left shift plus F key. We first have to designate a ship as the guide ship. This ship will be the actual leader for the formation, and all warships following the guide ship will try to copy their current orders. Select the ANS Small Beginnings to mark it as the guide.
Aye aye, forming
Next,
up.
you'll need to designate a position for the Dusty Tome to take up in formation. The dial functions exactly like the movement command, but it's relative to the guide ship. Pick a position for the Dusty Tome to keep station on. The Dusty Tome will move into formation, and they'll try to follow the guide ship as best they can. If the guide ship is moving when the ship is ordered to form up with it, the guide will automatically slow down to allow the other ship to catch up. You can have as many ships as you want in a formation, but keep in mind that there are drawbacks to having a lot of closely packed ships beyond white-knuckled helmsmen. Spacing is key, and sometimes you need to split up. Ships near each other create a larger radar return, making stealth and evasion more difficult and allowing the enemy to detect you at a longer range. But we won't go over sensor coverage just yet. You can see the structure of your fleet and its formations in the ship list, which dynamically updates to show which ships are in formation with each other. Orders can be issued to your entire formation at once by opening the action menu in formation mode. This can be done by using left shift plus right click with any ship in the formation selected.
Go ahead, Command.
The action menu will indicate it's in formation mode by displaying the number of ships the order will be delivered to. For formation mode, don't worry about which ship you have selected, as the order will be delivered to all of them. Easier that way.
Okay.
Movement orders are a special case, as they will always be routed to the guide ship, and the whole formation will follow them. Now let's get the whole formation moving in a direction. The Drive Course command, found in the Move submenu as the CRS or Course button, will order a ship or formation to travel in a certain direction indefinitely. Select the Drive Course command now. Do not issue the order just yet. When it comes to picking directions in space, you'll use the Sphere widget. It's similar to the Dial widget from before, but allows for choosing directions more uniformly. It can be a little tricky at first, so take your time and get a feel for it. Moving your mouse cursor around will position the target on the surface of the sphere. By holding left control, you will log the direction and be able to change the radius. This is useful for weapons, as you'll see in a later lesson, but for choosing a course, we really only care about direction. Know that the cursor will remain on one side of the sphere, even if you pan the view. The initial side is determined by where your mouse was relative to the ship when you first opened the widget.
Oh, okay.
If you need to switch the side, hold left control and draw the radius back through the center until it's on the opposite side. Get some practice moving the cursor around now, as selecting a direction or position in 3D space can be very disorienting at first. When you're ready, issue the order to get the formation underway in the given direction.
I'm not sure. This is the first tutorial mission. It looks like they're using standard thrusters. Yeah, this was the very first tutorial mission, so I'm not sure on the lore on these ships yet. Alright, which way does it want me to head, though? I think it wants me to set any course, so...
Understood.
The formation will now drive the course until told to do otherwise. Careful not to lose attention and let them get too far. We've had an incident in the past, and I'm not going to fill out more paperwork.
They just keep going that way then, and this guy will just keep following this guy. Yeah, right now, I don't know if we have warp. Right now it looks like they're using standard thrusters, but this is more of like a combat speed thing. I don't know if they can move any faster yet. We'll figure out with the rest of the tutorials.
Lastly, let's break the dusty tome back off from the formation. To do so, all you need to do is select the ship and issue a standard movement order to it.
Commander.
That will override its order to keep in formation.
On the way, Commander.
Well, congratulations! That completes your first lesson in maneuvering ships in the battle space. We'll cover more advanced topics like weapons employment and tactical view in the next lesson. I'll see you back at the Academy.
Alright. That's basic movement. We got that done. Alrighty. That takes us back. Okay. That's basic maneuvers, then we'll do weapons, sensors, advanced maneuvers. Maybe that will tell us more about the propulsion. But let's just keep going down the list. Because this seems like a pretty dense game. Still the same two ships. But should be interesting.
Now comes my favorite part. Weapons and how to use them. Don't worry about that red contact over in the distance. It's a decommissioned frigate that's been tugged out here for target practice.
Okay.
Before we get to weapons, we need to learn about the tactical view. You can switch between tactical and normal views by pressing spacebar.
Ooh. Tac view.
The view controls here are the same as before, but you can zoom out much further and get a better idea of the situation in the battle space. Take a moment to look around now.
Okay. Giant rock.
The tactical view provides you with a lot of information that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. It's your primary way of knowing what's happening around you. You'll be using it a lot. The range plane shows you both elevation of targets and their distance from a given point. When no ships are selected, it sits at the center of the battle space. Select the small beginnings now to see how the plane changes.
Send traffic.
Oh, okay.
Take note that the
will
range
help.
plane moved to center on that ship. It'll also track with it. All ranges will be indicated relative to your currently selected ship. Notice how the line from the enemy track to the range plane has a slight curve. This is because elevation and range are not directly related, so the contact's distance on the plane must be projected onto a sphere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's elevated up here.
This layout makes it easy to determine the range of a target by looking at the position of the plane relative to your selected ship's capabilities. The dotted lines represent maximum ranges of your ship's systems. Red indicates offensive range, blue is sensor range, and defensive systems are green.
Okay. And they don't have defensive systems. Oh, yeah. And because I can spin this around, we get the sensor in the 3D range too.
While there are common ship configurations found throughout the fleet, most ships have some unique capability. The ANS Small Beginnings is configured with 2 Mark 62 twin-barrel 120mm cannons and a 16-cell vertical missile launcher.
Alright.
I'm unlocking your weapon systems now, so let's put gunnery to the test with some tried-and-true naval fire. There are several ways to target weapons. The fastest and simplest is by shooting directly at the sensor track. To do this, right-click the red sensor track to bring up the action menu in track mode. The action menu will indicate it is in track mode by displaying the targets and track number in the space. It will automatically open the weapons list if there are any weapons on the ship.
Alright.
The active targeting mode is shown at the top of the list. Right now we are in track mode indicated by TRK. We'll talk about other modes later. Select the cannons from the weapon list and light up the target.
Oh, look, little green. And we can see it in this mode too.
Definitely seeing some hits there. Looking good.
Alrighty.
If the guns can't hit a target, the ship will automatically roll itself to get currently active weapon on angle on the target. This is called unmasking. Right now you'll notice that our fire is pretty inaccurate. This is because our targeting solution isn't using a fire control lock. The red dot jumping around near the track shows where our sensors think the target is.
Receiving.
Let's improve our targeting accuracy by locking the target with our bullseye fire control radar, located on the top of the ship.
Alright.
To do this, right-click the track and select the LCK, or lock, at the top of the action menu. You can also use the X key keyboard shortcut.
Target locked.
There we go. Get a better firing solution.
Notice the new icon on the target. This indicates that the target is locked on and is providing much better accuracy and increased update rate on the target.
Alrighty.
Remember, not all ships have fire control radar, and you'll only be able to get a lock with ships that have them equipped. Right now we are shooting armor-piercing, AP, shells at the target. Armor-piercing is effective on armor plating, but will only deal damage to internal components directly in the shell's path once it punctures the hull. While any damage is a good thing, we can deal even more damage by switching the shell type to high explosive, dealing damage to a wide area in the target's internals. We use high explosive, HE shells, against targets of appropriate size or smaller, or larger targets with heavy armor damage. HE shells cause much less damage to armor, but penetration will explode inside and do damage to all nearby components and personnel. To switch to HE shells, first open the action menu in track mode by right-clicking the track.
Send traffic.
In the weapons list, next to the cannons entry, click on the ammunition icon to open the ammunition list. Click the 120mm HE shell option to select it. The ammo switch is now pending and will only be executed if a new fire order is given. To begin firing the new ammo type, click the weapon group to confirm the ammunition change.
Solution locked in.
Alright.
Now we'll select the small beginnings and watch what it's up to. The mounts display shows the ship's cannons are firing and cycling. When the yellow bar is filled, the cannon will fire again. We can also see that the fire controls radar is solid green, indicating it's active and it has an active lock-on.
Okay, yeah.
Here's the active orders list, showing an icon for each order the ship is currently executing. Right now we have an order to fire our guns and an order to lock the target.
Alright.
Have the small beginnings hold fire and break their lock-on by right-clicking on the order icons to cancel them.
Alright.
And that's the basics of gunnery. The key thing is to know what ammunition to use, especially as your target takes more damage to warrant the big stuff. But what if you don't have a sensor track?
Yeah.
Take a look at your ship's hulls, and you'll notice the 4 white octagons on the sides. These are radar panels, and provide coverage for their respective sector of space. There's also a central control module inside the ship, which tracks what these panels see.
Ah, there's one right there.
When panels are damaged or destroyed, you'll lose coverage in that area. Similarly, if the radar controller is destroyed, you'll lose all coverage in all directions. Obviously, fighting blind is not a good thing.
Nope, probably not.
But that won't put you out of the fight just yet. Direct fire weapons like cannons can fall back on visual targeting, where the crew will provide targeting data to your guns using onboard optics. Some weapons like missiles can't do this, however. I've ordered your crew to disable the radar. Take a moment and observe what happens. You don't want the first time you're operating without radar to be the real deal. With sensors disabled, you will now see visual contacts when you have one of your ships selected, and nothing when no ship is selected. Visual contacts are only useful to the ship that actually sees the target, unlike the sensor track, which was shared across all ships. If you don't see anything, you'll need to move within visual range, about 3,200 meters. I've created a marker in the general area for your reference. That won't happen in actual battle. You can fire on visual contacts the same way you did with the sensor tracks. Use visual targeting to fire at the target ship with the small beginnings guns again.
Send traffic.
Move them over. He'll have to move up too.
Course laid in.
Book it.
Receiving. Receiving. On it.
That should get me really close. Nice that it's got like a sphere kind of a thing with the tactics menu. Alright. Man, it's just using big old thrusters to move around. It's even got little side and forward thrusters. That's nice. Something tells me that they can get damaged and we can lose thruster power. We even got reverse thrusters right here. Or a big old flying brick, which is probably more realistic than anything else. We're in visual range.
We've got him now.
In a situation like this, you can imagine things are not going too well for you, but you'll at least still be a threat, so don't feel too cut up if your sensors go dark. Now missiles. The ships in this fleet carry 2 variants of the SGM-2 series anti-ship cruise missiles, the Thunderhead and the Hurricane.
Reversing thrust.
Okay. And what are those
The
two
Hurricane is
missiles
a
do?
command-guided missile, which means it is guided to the target by a launching ship. If it misses the target, it will come back around and try again until it runs out of fuel, is shot down, or finally hits the target.
Okay, sounds pretty
Command
good.
missiles are very difficult to avoid. The only way to defeat them without destroying the missile itself is by destroying the launching ship or jamming its sensors or communication. Shoot the archer, as we say. The downside is that the Hurricane must be shot at a sensor track. If you lose a track, the Hurricane will be useless. Let's launch 3 Hurricane missiles at the target. Start by opening the action menu in track mode on the target.
Preparing to launch. Reporting.
Incoming missile. Ooh, that looked like it hurt.
Now select the SGM-225 Hurricane with the weapons list. This will queue up a single missile shot at the target and leave you with an active track selection widget. Multiple missiles can be fired with a single order using the left Alt key. Hold the left Alt key and click on the target to add one more missile per click. The number of queued missiles is shown next to your mouse cursor. To issue the order, you can either click the left mouse button with the left Alt key released, or you can press the Enter key. Once you've issued a launch order, you'll notice the mount status display will show the number of missiles that are being spun up for a launch.
Okay.
It takes time between when the target is selected and when the missile actually leaves the ship. This warm-up time is when the weapons control system brings the missile online, checks it for errors, establishes a reference frame for the IMU, uploads the target package, and more. Programming time varies by missile type, with more complicated missiles taking more time.
Sounds fun.
The number of missiles that can be warmed up and programmed at the same time is referred to the ship's maximum salvo size, and it varies from ship to ship based on its configuration. These two frigates each have 4 channels, so 4 missiles can be fired at a time.
Alrighty.
Missiles are one of your most limited and precious resources, second only to the ships themselves. They are extremely powerful, but extremely scarce. You'll need to know when to use them, as it can't be replenished under normal circumstances outside of a port. A frigate like the Rains will be crippled by only 2 or 3 missile hits, but in a real fight it will often take more than that to penetrate an enemy's point defense, which are a serious threat to Hurricanes as they tend to fly in a direct path. The ANS Dusty Tome is carrying a different missile loadout. Select the ship now so we can take a look at it.
Standing by.
This frigate is carrying Thunderheads, an active radar-guided missile, which means it carries its own method for finding targets, allowing it to seek targets by itself.
Fun.
It can be targeted in the same way as the Hurricane missiles, but once it has left the tube, it's entirely autonomous. When it reaches the end of its path, it will activate its onboard seeker and begin searching for a target. The greatest benefit of active missiles is that they can be sent on complex waypoint paths, allowing for multi-angle strikes and even hitting targets behind asteroids. But we'll cover that when you get to your advanced missile trials.
Alrighty.
For now, let's just fire 3 Thunderhead missiles at the target as we did before with the Hurricanes.
Dusty Tomes, fire, Thunderheads, left alt. One, 3.
Launching missiles.
As easy as it is to use active radar missiles, there are some downsides to their operation. The first is that the missile must find a target within the cone of its seeker in order to track and kill it. This makes evasive maneuvers such as course changes an easy way to defeat active missiles fired at long range, especially against fast-moving targets.
Here they come.
The second shortcoming is that active seekers are easy to decoy with chaff and other countermeasures, meaning more missiles need to be used in order to score a hit, as active missile radars are particularly sensitive to jamming and decoys. But that should do it for your weapons trial. I'll have Fleet Logistics retrieve the dummy ship, and I recommend looking into all the weapons when you get your chance. I'll see you at the Academy.
Alrighty. Mission 2 over. Movement and shooting. Do we need anything else? Probably. Yeah, that was all grayed out. Probably disabling the ship's more important than actual full-out destroying it, because if you can make it not a factor, then yeah. Alright. Next mission, damage control. Probably gonna need a lot of this.
Alright, ready for something really nerve-wracking? For as long as you're out here in space, it's inevitable that you're going to take a few hits over the course of your career.
Alright.
In reality, the odds of us coming out unscathed in an engagement are exceedingly low. If you want to stay fit and combat effective, you're going to need to learn how to repair damage. Let's begin.
Okay.
To start, select the ANS Small Beginnings. I've had my boys set up some simulated scenarios for us to cover. Just stay cool. You'll start seeing some damage come up.
Send traffic.
For the purpose of this training exercise, I've just simulated damage in 3 of the Small Beginnings subsystems: Mount 1, the main radar controller, and the Combat Information Center. In the ship list, you'll notice a number of new icons have appeared. The orange number indicates the number of damaged components with active debuffs, which affects the performance of those damaged components. If there's a fire, it will be indicated here. Obviously, a fire in an enclosed space is a serious threat to ship survival. It'll slowly damage the ship over time, and it'll also slow down the working speed of damage control teams. This red number indicates the components have been damaged to the point where they are no longer functional. This also includes components which have been completely destroyed. The red chevrons indicate the ship's command system are not operational, meaning they are no longer receiving any orders. Open the action menu to see what it looks like. The text at the center of the action menu will display "Not Receiving" when a ship can't receive orders. This is because the CIC, or Combat Information Center, has taken critical damage. You may have warships with backup command systems that allow maneuvering orders to be carried out while the CIC is disabled. This allows you to get your ship to safety and effect repairs. However, this ship isn't fitted with that.
Okay.
Going back to the ship's status display, we can see the damaged components and their locations. By clicking on the status display, we can open the damage control board. Do so now.
Ah, here we go.
The damage control board will show all of the components installed on the ship and their current status. You can use the filter buttons at the top to suppress things that you don't want to see.
Control restored.
Your damage control officer will automatically prioritize repairs based on how important a component is. For example, your reactor and CIC are going to be priority 1, as they're critical to the operation of the ship. If you have your own priorities, you can click on one of the items on the board to prioritize it manually. Prioritized items are highlighted in blue. Keep in mind that changing priorities frequently can cause teams to move around a lot, which wastes valuable time that could be used for repairs.
Okay, so those guys are the repair teams moving throughout the ship. That's kind of neat.
Damage control teams are stationed in a DC locker and will move from there when damage is taken. It'll take time for repairs to start, as the teams need to get themselves and their tools to the casualty. You can see the progress of the damage control teams by the gauge filling up on their token. Hazards like fires are their first priority, before they'll begin repairing actual damage, as these can deal damage over time. The important thing to remember is that once a component has taken damage below 90%, it can never be fully repaired back to 100%. Maximum repair is 10% more than the lowest integrity level the component had at the time of repairs.
Ah, okay.
We'll let your teams work before we continue. Let's do 2 more drills. The first is a component restoration exercise. The CIC is now destroyed, with the integrity at 0%. Repair teams won't begin repairs to get it operational again, without you explicitly telling them to do so. You'll need to get it repaired. In the damage control board, find the CIC and use left shift plus left click to order your repair teams to start working on it. Once it's repaired, the ship will be able to receive orders again. This must be done manually, because restoring a component is a time and equipment-intensive process. The equipment to do so is stored in the DC locker, and each locker only holds enough materials for 1 or 2 restorations. Although the CIC is disabled, and this ship can't receive orders to move or fire, you will always be able to prioritize damage control to attempt repairs. But this means that your repair teams are extremely vulnerable. They're moving into parts of the ship that are actively taking enemy fire, and could very well be killed. If all the personnel on a team are killed in action, you'll lose the team completely. If you run out of repair teams, you won't be able to repair at all. You can't replenish teams outside of a port, so keep that in mind. We'll wait for your teams to finish their work, then we'll continue.
Restore this. Come on, repair, repair, repair. What's this? Reactor, drive, thrusters. Okay. once this is repaired, we'll be able to move out. Okay, yeah, there's the DC locker. So if you can, you probably want to try to retreat or move out before you're fully destroyed, at least, because you can't restore.
Now that the CIC is restored, the Small Beginnings is ready to receive orders again. After the teams reboot all of the computers, that is. Lastly, we'll do something a little dangerous, a catastrophic scenario. Most component damage is localized, and will only affect the part of the ship where the damage was received. On the other hand, catastrophic scenarios are situations which, left unchecked, will eventually take the whole ship down. These situations include reactor overloads, magazine explosions, and fuel line fires, just to name a few.
Alright.
Your repair teams will automatically move to prevent catastrophic damage, so there's not much you can do except watch. Just get a feel for what it will look like. Your damage control officer will always prioritize repairs for a situation like this. The ship's survival always comes first. Notice the flashing warning icon in the ship's list. Below the icon is an estimated countdown before the situation gets out of control. If you don't know what's wrong, you can hover over the warning icon to see a tooltip. Out of all the catastrophic damage you might see, reactor overloads are the most deadly. Your teams know how to work with a damaged reactor, but fires and other hazards can make it a nearly impossible task to complete. Should the reactor go critical, you'll see a reactor bloom with a blast radius of about 1.5 kilometers. Standard doctrine states to move all of the friendly warships out of the danger radius of a ship with an impending reactor overload.
Oh, okay.
Be careful around enemy wrecks as well. Your weapons could have damaged the reactor housings, and you'll get little to no warning before they go off.
So always stay 1.5 kilometers away from an enemy ship, otherwise you might get caught in the blast.
But Commander, that's it for your damage control trials. Just keep an eye on your teams and be smart about their movements, and you'll come out just fine. Remember, the ship's survival always comes first.
Do they got it? Well, we didn't get to see it end. Alright, so that's how we damage control. 3 down. Alright, sensors. This should be fun. Same 2 ships.
It's critical for you to understand your sensors and the things that affect them, as they act as your eyes in the battle space. After all, you can't shoot what you can't see.
True.
But now it's time to learn how they actually work. How to evade detection while spotting the enemy, and how to fool your opponent is absolutely paramount to a successful engagement. Let's begin.
Got it.
Select the ANS Small Beginnings.
We're ready whenever you are.
The first thing we'll talk about is your signature size and methods of signature control. Active sensors like radar detect enemy ships by bouncing radio waves off of them. The physical size of your ship, combined with the angle of surface and the cross-sectional area from the viewing angle, affect the size of the returned energy. In other words, the same ship will appear on sensors at a longer range if its broadside is facing the enemy versus being bow on. The smallest radar cross-section for the Rains frigate, for example, is from above and below the port and starboard stern. You can see the size of your signature by hovering over the signature summary on the ship information bar.
Alright. Ah, because we're near a ship. Okay.
There are other contributing factors to the size of your signature, including what modules are active and how many ships are nearby. Right now there is another ship nearby, which is boosting the size of the radar return and making it so the enemy can see us at a longer range. Let's lower our footprint. Move the Small Beginnings more than 250 meters away from the Dusty Tome, so you won't contribute to each other's signatures. Don't move towards the enemy, we want to keep our current range.
Waiting orders. We're on the move.
If you hover over the signature summary with your mouse, you will see the nearby ships modifier is gone. Reducing our... It's good, but we'll need to do better if we want to hide ourselves from the enemy.
Full stop.
On the ship list, the yellow icon indicates that the ship is spotted by the enemy sensors and is being tracked.
Oh.
Similarly, a red crosshair here would show that the ship is locked by the enemy's fire control radar. We have a good set of tools to reduce our radar footprint even further. Let's see what we can do to shake the enemy off. This switch will toggle our radar systems off, greatly reducing our footprint. This switch disables our communication suites, which can provide a modest reduction in our signature size. Go ahead and turn off both of these now, and see how it affects our signature size.
Ah man, we're tiny now. Minus 34%.
You may be surprised to see that even with your radars off, you are still seeing tracks. This is because the ANS Dusty Tome still has the radars and comms on, and is transmitting tracks to the Small Beginnings, sharing their own data.
Oh.
Hover over Signature Summary with your mouse to see how changing these emission settings altered your signature. If you didn't move too close to the enemy, you'll notice that the yellow icon indicating the ship is being tracked has disappeared. If you are still being tracked, it might be because your hull is at an angle that maximizes radar reflections. Even then, a lower signature size reduces the distance at which the enemy can detect you, even if you are well inside their maximum sensor range. Disabling emissions also has the added benefit of making you undetectable by passive sensors. Passive radar sensing is typically able to detect you 125% further away from your maximum radar range, so being invisible to it has an obvious benefit. The downside, of course, is that turning off your radars means you can't detect threats as easily. Similarly, disabling comms means that the ship is no longer transmitting any tracks it sees to friendly ships in the fleet. Ships with their comms off will still be able to receive tracks from other transmitting ships, so they can act as a silent shooter. Go ahead and re-enable both the radar and the communications on the Small Beginnings. Now it's time to experience what having your sensors jammed feels like.
Go ahead, jam them up.
Enemy.
Confusing, right?
Either way.
Oh, okay.
The enemy jammer is saturating our radar with radio waves, making it difficult for our systems to find legitimate contacts. This noise of contacts is what we are seeing, instead of the real radar picture. Notice that we lost track of the ship in front of us, but the one on the right is still clear as day.
Yeah.
This is because jamming only affects the area around the direction that is being jammed. Keep this in mind when you're trying to use jamming to protect your own ships. We do have a tool available that can be used in a pinch, the burn-through sweep. Not all radar modules have this, but allows for a short, high-powered sweep in all directions. To execute the burn-through sweep, open the action menu and select the BRN or burn-through command on the top. Then, as quickly as you can, attempt to lock the target. You can use the X key for the lock-on shortcut.
Copy that. Locking target.
Burn-through sweeps will show a unique icon for detected targets, making it easier to spot the target through the noise. The icon will linger for about 30 seconds to give you time to lock on. Locked targets are much less susceptible to being lost through jamming.
Okay. So we can try to find ships still. Alrighty.
Enemy.
That's it. Most of the time you'll be able to maintain a fire control lock in spite of jamming. But keep in mind that jamming power stacks, so a fleet with enough jammers active at the same time will break any lock. Because burn-through sweeps use a much higher power output, they also have the added benefit of being able to spot smaller, weaker contacts at a greater range. This is useful for finding small scout ships or approaching missiles. The downside is that the higher power output runs the risk of causing damage to the amplifiers every time you use it, so be careful not to burn out your radars.
That sounds bad.
Your other option for burning through jamming is simply to get closer to the enemy, brute forcing your way in. Just try not to get sunk in the process. Jamming the enemy ourselves can be as easy as right-clicking their track and selecting our jammers with the EW weapons menu. However, these targets are far enough apart that they won't both be covered by the cone centered on only one of them. The ANS Dusty Tome is carrying a blanket radar jammer. We'll use that to jam both targets by catching them both in the jammer's cone of effect by targeting a position between both contacts. You can target a weapon on a position in space by opening the action menu by right-clicking in open space instead of on a track, and use the sphere widget to target a position between the two contacts. Remember to use the tactical view as it will give you precise bearings for positional targeting. When in the tactical view, you'll see each track's position projected onto the sphere of the widget. To blind both of them, aim for a point between those two projected positions. Remember that you can change the radius of the widget by holding left control and drawing the radius in or out.
Jammer online.
There we go. Ah.
Awaiting
And like that, they can't see us anymore, just like what happened to us. But they can also use the same tactics like burn-throughs or approaching us to sift through the jamming.
Alright. That's neat. More precise tools.
While jamming power is additive, it is not linear. The more jamming signals that are present in an area, the more they begin to create destructive interference and cancel each other out. Think of it like diminishing returns. Even if you don't successfully jam the enemy's tracking of your ships, an active jamming signal will still reduce their sensor accuracy. This is particularly devastating for point defenses, which are shooting at very small, very fast targets and therefore require great accuracy. Using standoff jamming in coordination with your missile salvos will make them devastatingly effective. Let's try it. Fire off the missile salvo at the enemy ship ahead, and see how their defenses react with your jammer active. Watch how erratically the enemy defenses are firing. Point defense requires pinpoint precision, which your jamming is preventing by flooding their sensors with far too many false contacts.
Missile launched.
Ah, that's right, I didn't do a full salvo. Hold on. Let's do this right. Fire. Missiles. Alt.
Missile launched.
Fire 4.
Ready.
And you.
Missile away.
Oh no.
When using jamming to cover a missile attack, you'll still need to watch out for airburst point defenses like flak guns, as they don't require much accuracy.
Jammer's high.
Standing by.
You can't do both at the same time.
We're ready whenever you are.
Let's try that again.
Most importantly, the blanket jammer has a 90-second firing time. This is to prevent the amplifiers from overheating and being damaged. However, there are times where you absolutely have to be able to use the system, or you'll lose the ship. In that case, you might not care whether the module destroys itself. This is what Battle Short is for. Select the ANS Dusty Tome if it isn't already.
Orders, Commander. Aye, Commander.
This is the toggle for the Battle Short mode. When this is on, all equipment safeties are disabled, and the equipment will continue to run until it destroys itself. Reserve it for emergency use, or you'll hear an endless litany of profanity from the damage control officer. When Battle Short is enabled, active components with active duration timers will periodically be damaged. However, they will only begin taking damage when they exceed their normal firing time.
And missile launch.
There we go.
One last thing to note is that most electronic warfare modules are single-cycle systems. That means they won't repeatedly fire on the same target after their cooldown period, and you'll need to designate a new target every time the system comes off cooldown. Jamming is an extremely powerful tactic when used at the right time. Use it to cover your retreat, confuse enemy fire, cover your missiles, and anything else you can think of. With that out of the way, that should do it for sensors and EWAR. I hope I made it easy to follow, because the guidebooks on these are nightmarish. I'll see you back at the academy.
Alrighty. I didn't get any hits, but hey, that's fine. I did deal some damage. Alrighty. Oh well, it was just a tutorial. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna go grab a drink. Alrighty. Did it take long? Okay. So, we know about sensors, we know how to shoot, we know how to move. What's next? We're through half the tutorial. Advanced maneuvers. This should be interesting. Now that we got a little drink here.
Space is vast, Commander. There's usually no cover, and if you're lucky, you can see a threat coming kilometers away. Knowing how to move your ship is one thing, but knowing the right maneuver will make sure you come out on top.
Alright.
You can definitely make it out of a fight in one piece without using advanced maneuvers, but you'll see quite a good drop in repairs if you employ them correctly. Before we get started, let's order the Dusty Tome to enter formation with the small beginnings, so we can see how these commands affect other ships in the formation when issued to the guide ship.
Alrighty.
At the ready, Commander.
And if I remember right,
We hear you, Command.
we need to move, formation. We want at least 250 meters from each.
Understood.
Now let's try our first new command. Select the ANS Dusty Tome and open the action menu. All of the commands we'll learn about in this lesson can be found under the Move submenu.
Alrighty.
The ALD,
Quiet.
or Assume Lead command, will cause the formation that this ship is in to restructure itself with the selected ship as the new guide ship. Issue this order now.
Quick cadence. Yeah, it looked interesting. I'm not the best at these, but I do like them. So we'll see how well it goes. Okay. Assume lead.
Aye, aye.
It's not uncommon for the guide of the formation to come under fire first, as it's usually the most important ship, making it a prime target. Should it become disabled, its escorts will hold position around it. Sometimes you want them to hold the line, but there's other times that you need to sacrifice that disabled ship to save the others. When you have a large formation, the Assume Lead command will save you precious time reorganizing the formation around a new ship that can lead the survivors to safety.
Oh, okay.
It's a lifesaver, literally.
That makes that a whole lot easier. So if you got like 5 or 6 and the one that was lead goes down, instead of like select them all and then selecting whatever ship and creating a new formation, you just tell you're the lead now. So that will work. And that was...
Since the Dusty Tome is the guide now, let's keep it selected and start covering the rest of the orders. Open the action menu and the Move submenu. We'll first cover the ORB, or Orbit command.
Okay.
This command is useful for keeping your ships moving continuously around a target without having to make hard direction changes constantly. Select it now, but don't issue the order yet. This is a 2-stage command, just like the formations. The first task is to select the orbit anchor, or the position the ships will travel around. Let's set our anchor near the enemy target. Once you have selected the orbit anchor, we'll determine the radius and the angle of the orbit. Notice that when you change the angle of the sphere widget, a dotted line now appears. The dotted line denotes the actual path that the ships will follow. The arrow near your cursor denotes the direction that they will fall along the path.
Center traffic.
This is determined by the side of the sphere your cursor is on relative to your ship. Go ahead and issue the order now. Make sure there are no obstacles in the path. The circle will turn red if the ship might hit something in its orbit.
Moving out.
If you want, you can open fire on the target you're orbiting to see how your guns will behave.
Oh, man. Thank you, Quiet. I do look forward to playing a little bit, but I think I'll stick with the training for now.
The real
See how well
utility
it
of the
goes.
orbit command is that it keeps your ships moving while keeping a side facing the target on the inside,
Yeah.
allowing most weapons a good angle at the target.
You can orbit at your effective maximum range, too.
If you just drive a course, you'll eventually have to turn your ships around, or you'll lose the target behind an obstacle, or just slowly start to mask certain weapons as the angle increases. This will cost you valuable time while the turrets swing around. Orbits help prevent this. The downside, of course, is that your ships will be exposing the same armor to the enemy constantly, allowing them to whittle it down before they lay in heavy munitions. You'll also be presenting a good angle for radar returns, meaning you might be an easier target.
Okay, but if you outnumber them, it should be fine.
You can orbit this target as long as you like, and play with the weapons. When you're ready, issue a drive course order to get our ships heading off into open space, so we can try the remaining commands.
Alright. Let's get into orbit first. What's the...
We hear you, Command.
Center traffic.
Okay. Weapons. Let's just use our cannons. Are we not in range yet? We're getting there. Almost.
Beginning the attack.
Quiet. Command's on the line. We can take him.
Center traffic.
Okay.
Beginning the attack.
Now they're gonna start to orbit. This guy.
Got you 5 by
This guy
5.
doesn't have a firing solution, does he? Let's go ahead.
Outgoing missile.
Fire one. Alright. Well, looks like that's fair enough. Let's go ahead and move them off. Drive course.
On the way, Commander.
Alright, 2 more commands to cover. Both are very situational, but you'll be glad you've got them in your tool belt. Better to have it than not have it at all.
Okay.
Open the action menu to the Move submenu, and locate the HDG or heading command. The distance you draw the sphere widget out to doesn't matter here, as we're picking a direction instead of a position. Select a direction that is different from the course the formation is currently driving.
A in this. Oh, okay.
Acknowledged.
Notice how the entire formation is turning to face that direction, but continue to move along in its ordered course. A modified movement order like this is indicated with a blue box around the movement status icon.
Oh, okay. That would probably get the radar signature lower depending on what you're doing.
Normally your ships will turn into any course they are following, as this allows them to use their main engines and provides the best acceleration. However, when withdrawing under fire, this can expose the main engines, and especially the drive module in the reactor, directly to enemy fire. The hold heading order is useful to keeping the bow pointed towards the enemy, protecting your most vital components during retreat. To cancel a hold heading, as well as the next command we'll talk about, use the CLR or clear command under the move submenu. Clear the heading hold now. The last command we'll cover is the ROL, or roll command. We'll do this for the ANS small beginnings this time. Select the ship and select the order now.
Commander.
The roll command will allow you to select a new direction for the ship to use as its up direction. Move the mouse around the widget and click the left mouse button to select a new up direction.
Flip
You heard
upside
the
down.
orders. Let's go.
Ordering a ship to roll may seem trivial, but like I've said, your radar panels may get taken out by enemy fire. If this is a scout or a spotting ship and it needs to provide targeting data right now, rolling the ship over to expose the functioning panels may be necessary.
Okay.
Also notice that the small beginnings rolled independently of the guide ship, but is still keeping formation. A roll order can also be cancelled with the clear command. And that's it. It may seem simple, but if you use any of these little tricks right, you'll start seeing a difference. I'll see you at the academy.
You can also use it to show good armor. Alrighty. Five down, 3 to go. Advanced missile tactics. Ooh, we get a third ship. 3 missile launchers. And is that another radar system? Alright. She'll probably tell us about it in there. Hazel, what do you got for me? Finishing nameplates. Okay.
Out here in the cold void, missiles are like diamonds. They're valuable and scarce, and you won't be able to refill your cells under most circumstances. Unless you want to wind up with empty launchers while your enemy is fully stocked, you'll need to learn how and when to use them. You can always come back here to practice with missiles, but I can also give you a rundown of what you can throw downrange.
Alright, go ahead.
You want to take the reins and practice, or would you like me to guide you through it? I've got
Good.
plenty of time.
Go ahead.
Sounds good. Let's get you familiar with advanced missile operations. The enemy ships in this scenario won't shoot back at your ships, but they are all equipped with different types of point defenses, so it won't be as easy to hit them as last time. There are 5 enemy ships in the battle space, but we can only see 3 of them right now. I've disabled your drives for this, as you'll get the most training out of your current position. No cheating and all that. We'll start by firing 2 command-guided missiles, the Hurricanes, from the ANS small beginnings at the group of 2 ships directly ahead of us. This is the same as during the weapons trial, except now we're going to test the target's defensive capabilities. As a side note, you can track all missiles with your camera by selecting them, or just hover over them with your mouse and hitting the F key. Don't worry if the missiles get shot down on their way in. Targets have their point defenses on the ventral side of the ships, and since we're below the targets, we're at a disadvantage.
Fire
Missile
2.
away.
Alright. Loading. Track and lock. Programming. Launching. Here they go. They didn't get very far.
We could ascend and take the elevated position on the targets, but trust me when I say that they can roll their ships to cover the angle much faster than we can get into a more advantageous position.
Alright.
You may recall from the weapons trial that I mentioned you can plot complex paths for certain missiles to follow. We're going to work up some clever missile strikes. The easiest way to lay in missile paths is in the tactical view. Toggle it with the spacebar and keep it up. We'll need the extra space. In the weapons trial, we were always using track mode, and in one case visual mode, to target our weapons. Some weapons, and especially missiles, also have a position mode that lets us directly choose points in space to shoot at. Because the Hurricane missiles rely on a constant sensor track from their launching ship, they can't be shot at positions. So let's switch over to the Dusty Tome, which is carrying Thunderheads.
What can we do for you, Commander?
To target the weapons in position mode, open the action menu by right-clicking in open space. Don't right-click on a track, as this will put the weapons in track mode. Open the weapons list by clicking the Weps or Weapons button on the right side of the action menu. From the list, select the SGM-206 Thunderhead, but don't confirm a launch order just yet. You'll recognize the sphere widget from when we used it briefly in some of the previous trials, but we're going to get a lot of mileage out of it now. There are a few things to notice. The first is the red cone at the cursor location. This represents the missile's seeker field of view. When the missile reaches its last waypoint, its seeker will activate and any target in that cone will be locked on by the missile. It's important to remember that the missile seeker and warhead are inactive until it reaches the last waypoint.
Okay.
Because of this, it's important to leave space between where you place the last waypoint and the intended target. A good buffer will allow the missile to correct its course and establish a good path to intercept the target. The next thing you'll notice is the dotted lines and the circles projected onto the surface of the sphere. These are present because we're currently holding several enemy tracks on our sensors. It's very easy to get fooled by perspective in 3D space. These tracks are projected onto the sphere, so you have a good point of reference for the direction the track's relative to your cursor. The most effective way to aim at your target correctly is to look at its projection on the sphere, not the target itself.
Yeah. Like
Before we
that.
get to the complicated stuff, just try firing a single missile at the group of two ships by positioning the cursor inside one of their projected circles and clicking the left mouse button.
Understood.
Unless you're extremely lucky, this missile will likely be shot down on its way in. Point defenses are no joke. Now let's use cruise missiles to their full advantage by laying a path that attacks these ships from the top, where they have no point defense coverage. Start up another missile order, and I'll walk you through creating a path and taking multiple shots from the same order. We're going to arrange a top-down attack using Thunderhead missiles. Remember to be in the tactical view to get the most information and see the projected lines. In order to help you out for this one, I'll place markers for the waypoints we'll use. Place waypoints just how you would with ships. Position the cursor in the vicinity of waypoint 1, and hold the left shift key while clicking the left mouse button to add the waypoint. Don't worry about being exact, anywhere in the vicinity will work. Now do the same for waypoint 2. If you find it helpful, you can lay in your own path to reach the elevation we need to land a good hit. Now comes the tricky part. We want to fire 4 missiles down on top of these ships. In order to do so, position the target circle so it's facing the targets. Then, hold left control to draw the radius out until it's about halfway between your last waypoint and the target. Remember to give some relief space between the selected position and the target, so the seeker has time to activate. Take your time, and remember to reference your cursor against the projected circles, not the tracks themselves. When you're ready to start placing shots, hold the left Alt key and click the left mouse button. 1 missile will be fired per click when the order is finally issued. I recommend spreading the shots out in a cone a few degrees across, so the salvo has better odds of finding the target. An added benefit of this is that when missiles acquire a target, they'll curve back in on a trajectory that naturally confuses any point defenses they may encounter. To issue the order, either click the left mouse button with the left Alt key released, or press the Enter key if you have queued up exactly the number of missiles you want. We'll wait till you score a hit on one of these 2 ships before proceeding.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Firing 4 ships, so they'll pop up, over, and down. Neat. Let's see if these get a hit.
Don't worry if you don't get any hits, just try again. It's not like these things are expensive.
Here they go. Let's see if these make it. Come on. Curving down. And then they go live. Ooh,
Now we're talking.
there we go.
Attacking ships from top and bottom limits the number of mounts that can defend against the attack. It also has the added benefit of increasing the surface area of the vital internal components which are exposed to your fire, meaning more damage is more likely to be done once the missile connects. I'll be honest, Commander, I made you do this one the hard way so you could get some practice with the sphere widget on a target you could see. You can also accomplish the same thing using target reference points, which you can find under the signal menu as the TRP button. We won't do it now, but feel free to practice on your own later. They allow you to create a single waypoint for some missiles to travel via when firing on a track, but keep in mind that not all missiles support this.
Okay.
Let's move on to another type of missile. The A&S Fatal Spell is carrying a few SGM-233 Gale semi-active guided missiles. Semi-active missiles have a passive seeker and require an illuminator to home in on a target. Think of this like a radar flashlight. The illuminating signal can be provided by any ship, not just the ship that launched the missile, but that signal must be painted on a target for a missile to home in on it. Without it, the missile is just an expensive dud. The benefit of semi-active missiles is that they are significantly harder to jam or decoy, because a ship can output much more energy than a missile can. Illuminators can be found in the action menu under the EW weapon list on the right-hand side. Illuminate a target.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Your illuminator has a 90-second firing time before it turns off so the amplifiers can cool down. You can see its cone of effect in the tactical view.
Ooh, it's a thin cone.
Before it cools down, fire 4 Gale missiles at the target you have illuminated.
Outgoing missile.
See if these work. There
Remember,
we
if the
go.
illumination signal turns off before the missiles arrive, they will lose tracking and probably miss their target. They'll continue in their current direction, so stationary targets may be struck, but at this point, it's just luck.
Ooh.
Illuminators also require a direct line of sight to their target. Ships obscured by asteroids won't be painted. Now let's get some more practice with using waypoint paths. There are 2 more enemy ships hiding in the radar shadows of the nearby asteroids, meaning we can't see them with our own ships. Another benefit of cruise missiles and their ability to follow past is that you can shoot at targets you suspect to be in the area but do not hold a track on. This is good for hitting ships that have retreated behind an asteroid or other obstacle hiding from our sensors. Use the thunderheads on any of the ships to hit the target hiding near the point I've indicated.
Receiving.
Okay. We can do this. We fire, weapon, missiles. You will fire off this way. And then you will... Oh, no. You will fire off this way. Ah,
missile.
no.
Remember to use the tactical view to give yourself the best perspective, and lay in your path so the missiles will turn on their seekers before reaching the target. They'll need time and space to identify a target. While hiding behind asteroids can help you remain hidden from the enemy, it also gives the attacker an advantage. Cover can be a double-edged sword at the worst of times.
Copy that. Deploying missile.
Ah,
By
didn't-
hugging the asteroid closely with your missile's flight paths, you can give the point defenses less time to react before they detect the threats. That means less distance the missiles have to travel through defensive fire.
This one went out into nowhere. Okay, let's fire 4 more. Let's have this one. Fire weapons, missiles.
Initiating missile launch.
Ah, no. Hold on, I can cancel that real quick.
Understood. Launching missile.
Okay, one more time. Move out to here. And then I want this to shrink. And I want this. And I want more missiles. So Alt, full salvo. And fire them like this.
Aye aye, Commander. Firing missile.
There we go. I think this will hit him. That's a trick I can use. I can point it and then I can shrink my circle and then point the missiles off and then tell them to activate and look. It's kind of the dummy way to fire them, but let's see if these ones hit. Let's see if I can't see this ship in real time once these missiles get in range. Two
Good
hits.
strike! There's one more ship hiding up near Point Boxer, above the large asteroid. For this one, I'll hide the marker after a few seconds, so get a good feel for where it is. This will be your hardest shot yet, so make me proud.
Okay. Okay, so it's around there. Okay. So,
Send your traffic.
weapons, thunderheads. I want you guys shrink your circle. Go up. I want to waypoint there. A waypoint up higher. And then I want you to look down. And we want to add, let's fire 8 of them.
Outgoing missile.
Oh. Oh man, did we not?
Missile out.
Ah, no. I gotta learn how to fire these missiles well, or I'm gonna be not so good. So, number of missiles, 8. Then we're gonna go ahead and hold shift. We're gonna fire up here first. Okay, hold on. Weapons, thunderheads. We're gonna add missiles. Then we're gonna go up. Oh, okay. Maybe we do that afterwards. So first we waypoint it. We up. And then we're gonna look around. We're gonna shrink this. And we're gonna fire. Oh, okay. There we go. So from the waypoint, we can like fan them out and hopefully get a better.
Firing a missile.
Alright, that's a good way to do it. That way I shotgun it, so maybe, and the point defense systems probably doesn't know how to prioritize that well. So we'll see if we can't get any of these to hit. It's gonna do it in 4 volleys. We'll stick to this, because from this we'll be able to tell which ones are. Okay, those little green tracers are coming up. Okay, it's more over into like the...
Excellent work, Commander.
Oh hey, we hit it.
That does it for your advanced missile ops. You can come back whenever you feel you need practice. Obviously, I do recommend practicing the missile paths. When you lay these in accurately and quickly in the midst of battle, you'll be a serious threat in the battle space. I'll see you back at the academy.
Alrighty, let's see how That actually worked. Yeah, I think I like that, doing that, where you love it and then you'll just like scatter them. Scatter them. Like, I don't know where you are, but the missile will figure out where you're at. If you really don't know, you can really give them a wide fan out, and that way maybe they have to give up their position. Alright, we only got 3 more? No, 2 more. Alright. Target point reference. Target reference point. Ooh, we got a different ship. Corvette. Okay.
Alright, Commander. After that last lesson, I'm sure you're hoping that there is an easier way. Well, the good news is that there is.
Okay.
Today I'm going to teach you how to use the Target Reference Points, or TRPs, to expedite the plotting of single waypoint missile trajectories. This should be a pretty quick one.
Okay.
There is one target ship sitting behind the large asteroid over to port, which we can't see currently because it's in the radar shadow. Fortunately, we have a scout corvette with us, the ANS Eye of Aster.
Alright.
Scout ships are fast, stealthy, and have long radar range, which makes them ideal for spotting targets. This allows us to keep our shooters concealed, or at least at a much further range than they otherwise would be, and thus safer while they fire on the enemy. You may have noticed that many of your weapons ranges are longer than your sensor ranges, making scout ships absolutely critical for maximizing the utility of your weapons. For the sake of this lesson, we'll leave the ANS Dusty Tome where it is. Let's start by getting our scout into position, so it can spot the enemy and relay targeting data to our shooter. Move the ANS Eye of Aster over the point atlas so it can get a track on this target ship.
Helm, take us in.
There we go. It's easy if I do it from the reference point of the ship. Alright. Let's get a good look at you. Oh yeah. Look at you. One giant big thruster in the back. You're just gonna haul butt, aren't you? But there it is. Okay.
Now that we have track on our enemy, we can start setting up our shot. A target reference point is a type of signal which are visible to everyone on your team. There are lots of different signals which can be used to indicate positions to the other commanders on your team. A TRP is a special type which can be used in conjunction with missile orders.
Alright.
By placing a TRP, we can use it to create a dogleg or kink in our missile's flight path when firing in track mode. Because of this, you can only use this method when you actually have a sensor track on the enemy. Plotting waypoints by position is still the only way to arrange an attack on a suspected enemy location. Go into the tactical view by hitting spacebar, and let's take a look at the geometry of this situation.
Okay.
We have 2 friendly ships in the battle space, one relaying targeting data to the other, and one enemy ship occluded from our shooter by a large asteroid. This is a situation you'll probably find yourself in frequently. In order to make the attack on the ship without exposing the Dusty Tome, we'll need to pick a location for our TRP, which creates 2 unobstructed lines. The first line is between the Dusty Tome and the TRP, and the second line is between the TRP and the target. This forms a triangle, with one leg being between the shooter and the target, and the other legs forming the flight path the missile will actually take. Open the action menu by right-clicking in space. You will need to have a ship selected for this. At the bottom of the menu, you'll see the Signal tab.
Send traffic.
Under the Signal menu, you'll find the Target Reference Point button, labeled as TRP. Click it to start issuing the order. This is your standard Dial Position Selection widget. Use it to select a point to place the TRP that creates the two unobstructed lines I mentioned earlier. One from the Dusty Tome to the TRP, and one from the TRP to the target.
Right. There.
If you didn't get a great placement, don't worry about it. You can just place another. All signals stay active for 2.5 minutes before disappearing automatically.
Okay.
When you're ready to continue, select the A&S Dusty Tome and open the action menu in track mode on the target ship.
Send traffic. Standing by.
Alright, time to select our missile and arrange the salvo. Open the WEP menu. The Dusty Tome is carrying the Thunderhead Active Radar Homing Missile and the Hurricane Command Guided Missile.
Alright.
Note that under their names, information about the missile is listed, including their guidance computer type. The Thunderhead has a cruise guidance module, meaning it is waypoint capable. The Hurricane is a direct guidance system, meaning it is not, and we can't use it for this strike.
Okay.
Select the SGM-206 Thunderhead missile. Queuing up missile shots is the same as we've done before, but now we have an extra input to add. By holding the left control key and clicking the left mouse button, we can designate the TRP we want to use. We can only designate one. Clicking the same TRP twice will clear the selected point. This can be done at any time while queuing missiles. Notice the yellow line from the firing ship to the TRP, indicating it is selected as a via point. Select the TRP you placed at the via point, and then fire at least 4 missiles at the target. I'll wait until you get a hit.
Missile away.
Ah, okay. This is a lot faster way to do that position thing. Less manual work. Alright, there those 4 salvos go. You can have this thing do a big orbit too to keep moving, keeping a position on this ship and the top of the rock. Stay hugging that rock. There we go.
Great job!
3 hits.
Target reference points are a great tool for arranging quick strikes around obstacles on a target you have a valid sensor track on. That covers it for this lesson. I'll see you back at the academy.
Oh,
Hazel out.
that was a short mission. Okay. See, 3 missile hits and it nearly conked out a ship like that. Okay. Those will do. 3 hits. Missed. Wonder what a soft kill is. Is that where the missile's disabled some other means without hitting it and exploding? Maybe. Alright. disabling the missile without having to shoot it. Maybe jamming it or making it not explode. Defending ourselves against missiles. We see how much they hurt, so let's see. A cannon, point defense turret, bullseye radar, one set of launchers, cannons. Alright.
Alright, Commander. Now it's time to turn the tables. We've been on the giving end for all of these lessons so far, but if you don't know how to defend your fleet, you might as well not be in command.
Alright.
Defending against anti-ship missiles is a complex topic, and I can't possibly cover everything in the course of this lesson. But at the very least, I'll get you started. I've placed 3 markers for the course we'll travel along for this to work best. Go ahead and set waypoint course from Atlas, where we are now, to Boxer and Comet. If you reach the end at any point, just plot a new path in the reverse order. I've also disabled your offensive weapons, so you don't accidentally, or on purpose, destroy the shooter or spotter ships I'll be controlling, as well as a few other systems that we'll unlock as we go over them.
Alright.
And don't worry, everything I'm going to fire at you are inert training missiles, with no warhead. Let's begin.
And we want to move.
Reporting.
Move. Position. Okay. Move to box.
Helm, take us in.
Ah, no, okay.
Helm, take us in.
That should work. Ah, man, that was close, but not close enough.
Send traffic. Helm, take us in.
It might seem ridiculous to say, but a lot of people don't consider that the best way to defend against missiles is to simply not be where the enemy has fired them at. The ship I'll be firing from is about 17 kilometers away. With the speeds these missiles travel at, it'll take them about 75 seconds to reach their acquisition range.
Okay.
When a missile is fired at a track, the target's last known position and velocity are programmed into the missile immediately before launch, so it can figure out how to leave the target. The good news is that 75 seconds is a lot of time for us to not be where the missile thinks we're going to be when it starts its search.
Send traffic.
When we talk about ASMD, we group defensive measures into 2 categories: soft kill and hard kill.
Hey, I was just asking that.
We'll talk about soft kill first, as it pairs very well with the evasive maneuvers we'll do for this first salvo. The rightmost set of buttons on the ship information bar controls your point defense doctrine. The decoy button controls when the point defense controller will automatically fire decoys. If you set it to manual, you will need to fire the decoys yourself via the action menu. It's best to leave this one on one of the other 3 options. The least option will use the decoy with the lowest capability necessary to defeat the threat. Best will always use the highest capability. Auto will fire all necessary decoys. The type of decoy necessary for the threat can only be determined if we have sufficient intelligence on the missile, which can be developed rapidly by the ES-32 Scryer module, which this ship is carrying. If we don't have this information, one of every type of our onboard decoys will be fired. The decoys we have available on the ship are the EA-12 chaff decoy and the EA-99 Conure active decoy. Chaff decoys are an expanding cloud of reflective metal strips, which create a much larger radar return than the ship that launched them. This presents a more appealing target to the missile and will hopefully draw it off, a tactic called seduction.
Okay.
Active decoys radiate their own energy and can mimic the signature of the launching ship, making them useful against more advanced missiles, which are also looking for the ship's radar emissions. Now, we're going to use evasive maneuvers in conjunction with these decoys to totally avoid the first salvo. In fact, I'm so confident you'll be able to do it that I've totally disabled all our other point defenses.
Okay.
I'm going to launch the first salvo now. When you detect the missiles, change course at least 90 degrees, but preferably more like 120 degrees, away from your current direction of travel. Don't do it preemptively, or the missiles will adjust their lead based on your new velocity vector. Wait until you detect them on radar. Alright, the first salvo is on its way. After you issue the order to change course, raise the throttle to flank speed to get that extra emergency thruster power. As your course change begins to take effect, dump a chaff decoy, or 3, with Shift Z to give the missile something to focus on while we make our escape. Manually firing decoys will fire one of each available passive decoy type. Active decoys will not be fired as they require a target to know how to fly away from the ship. If you want to fire an active decoy, right-click on one of the missile tracks and use the DCY button at the top of the action menu. The button will be highlighted in yellow to show you it will be for a specific threat rather than a generic decoy order.
On it. Spiker detected. Deploy countermeasures. Deploy countermeasures. Countermeasures away.
How did I... I'm gonna get hit. Maybe not. Okay, I think my other ones.
Nicely done, Commander.
Alright, that did work. I think some of the other ones.
Go ahead and get us back on course for
Reporting.
Move, position.
Helm, take us in.
We almost got to do this. Get some Unity errors in here. Is there a way to hide that? Oh well. Okay, yeah, thrusters. Sure, flanking. Alright, so I could hit this to overdrive the engine. Alright. Next time I know how to Man, learning how to defend this. Luckily this is a big ship. Alrighty. Instead of doing that, I could have done 120 degrees above or below position. That would have got me off course, but alright, I'm in boxer. Maybe if I set it.
Aye, aye. Full
Evasive maneuvers can do a lot for you when it comes to avoiding missiles fired at long range. If you do them right, you won't even need to fire in defense. But unfortunately, some more advanced missiles can follow your course changes, like the next salvo I've just launched.
What'd you do?
Receiving.
While we wait, this is a great time to talk about hard kill. Many missile threats simply can't be avoided by evasive maneuvers. The missiles that are on their way now have a command mid-course guidance configuration, so they will follow any course changes we make. For this, we'll need to rely on a combination of soft and hard kill techniques.
Okay.
You can change course if you want, and watch them follow us. Deploying chaff is always a good idea. It's cheap and plentiful, and it may save your life. But it usually won't draw every missile away, so we'll need to deal with the remaining missiles somehow. The simplest of the hard kill methods is point defense turrets. This ship is equipped with 3 Mark 20 Defender 20mm autocannons and 2 Mark 90 Aurora laser turrets. All of these weapons have their own integrated fire control systems, so once they have been cued to an area by the ship's radar, they can lock their own targets and develop their own firing solution. If you want to take a more hands-on approach, you can manually prioritize targets with the Z key or by using the PD button on the action menu. Generally, this isn't necessary, as the PD controller automatically prioritizes threats by size, distance, speed, and whether they're actually coming towards the ship or not. The ship will always defend itself before defending others.
Shoot those missiles. Alrighty. Stay course. Also jamming any ship that can act as a...
Great job! Now get us back on course again.
Send traffic.
Alright, we have one more type of hard kill to consider. Interceptor missiles.
Oh, okay.
These are missiles specifically designed to intercept and destroy incoming missiles. They are the most flexible form of PD, but also the most limited in quantity.
Alright.
This ship is carrying 40 SGM-112 Ripostes, a command-guided interceptor missile. Let's go through the options available by clicking the PD missile button and expanding the menu. The first option is the firing mode. By default, this is set to Doctrine, meaning that all missiles will be fired at all threats that it was designed for. By flipping it over to All, we can disregard those settings and the missile will be used against all threats. On the other hand, Manual will only fire at targets you have prioritized. Next is Firing Policy, which governs the number of salvos we'll fire at each threat. The next salvo will only be fired after the previous one misses. Following that is Salvo Size, which determines the number of missiles in each of the salvos from above. Setting this to Doctrine will refer to the missile type's default setting, usually 1 missile. And finally, last salvo will fire another salvo at the threat at the last possible moment, even if the previous salvos have not arrived. I know that was a lot, but managing these settings will help you economize your defensive missiles. They always go faster than you think they will.
Okay. So if I understand that right, let's see. If enabled, another salvo of missiles will be fired at the last possible moment, even if another missile are already in flight. So we'll shoot at them regardless of if I got another one or not. Salvo size. Doctrine.
Interceptor missiles excel at defeating threats at a much longer range than most other point defenses are capable of. That's extremely important when it comes to the most dangerous types of missiles we'll talk about next. Hybrids. Hybrid missiles are advanced, multi-stage missiles which can wreak havoc on a fleet if not countered during their cruise stage. Once they initiate their terminal sprint, a laser is about the only thing that can stop them. Imagine trying to shoot down a corkscrewing telephone pole, traveling at nearly 1 kilometer per second. And that's what facing a hybrid missile is like.
Okay.
Some of these missiles also carry penetration aids, such as self-screening radar jammers and decoy launchers. Fortunately, you don't actually have to imagine, because I've got 4 of them on the way.
What?
If you want to make any changes to your PD missile doctrine, better do it now.
Oh.
Missile warning. Inbound Spiker.
Come on. Missiles shooting missiles. Okay, it shoots 3 of them per missile. That's what that means.
Spiker detected.
Okay, good, good, good. We got it. Man. Switch back to doctrine. Did
Phew, wasn't that crazy?
yeah. Those hybrid missiles had point defense systems on them.
You can usually expect the enemy to reserve these kinds of missiles for killing capital ships, due to their destructive power, cost, and limited number. The best way to defend against them is with proper positioning of screening escorts, which can enable early detection so you can get your defensive missiles out there and engage them during their vulnerable cruise stage. Well, Commander, that about covers it for the absolute basics of ASMD.
Alright.
Good luck out there. Hey.
Thanks, Haley. You taught me how to not die. We'll see if we'll die on our first mission, though. Alright. And that is all the tutorial. Alright. Yep. Okay. Let's close that out. Okay. Oh, we can actually set this. I think we're good. Nobody's complained about the audio yet. It's not a very loud game, so we'll be fine. Oh hey, colorblind mode. That's always nice to have. go back to single player. Let's do a skirmish. Okay. There's no single player campaign. Mod, fleet editor, mod settings. Okay, I think... Was this game in early access? Well, if it was, let's go ahead and get a skirmish going just to try it out. It's been... how long? Almost 2 hours. 2 hours to do tutorial. That's a chunky tutorial, but with this kind of game, you probably do want your chunky tutorials because there's a lot. There's probably even more there that we didn't all cover, but we'll learn as we go. So let's get a skirmish going on. 3,000 points. CPU. We'll use the same ships. Scenario. Oh, okay. Tug of war. Okay, let's do annihilation. No limit on the time. Uniform teams. Okay. And supply damage, energy transfer, consider this. Static noise. Okay, so hold on. Let's go ahead and look at these. Static noise. What do we got here? We got jammer, a hang up, 2 blanket jammers, a bullseye radar, a hang up. I don't know, a 3x2x3. So it's even bigger. Okay, so this is our jammer guy. Let's see here. And then apply damage, missiles. CLS. And then 2 cannons. And then another vertical launcher. Okay, energy transfer. Some launchers. A cannon. Point defense. There's that beam. Offensive. Armor pen. Component. Burst. Oh, okay, so it's literally a giant laser beam. That's kind of neat. And then consider this another beam cannon ship with other systems. Dragonfly, okay. Okay, 2 channels. You don't have any. You're a scout though. Does he have jammer? Do you have any point? You don't even have any point of fish. Okay, we won't design any missiles yet. Alright. That's okay. Oh, okay, they're ahead of this ship, but he is the main one. That's good, because he doesn't have any weapons of himself. Okay. Let's see here. Turn. Alright, well, we're going with this standard low out and just see how it goes. Alright. Run the same fleets against each other. And start. Let's see how my first skirmish mission goes. Now that we're trained and we're up, we'll see how this... It might go well, it might not. We'll see. Okay, where are we? Oh, we get to choose our inbounding. Yeah, we'll come in this way. Alright. Deploy. Designing the ships might be nice once I figure out all the weapons do. Alright, we're in.
We're ready whenever you are.
You are. Open tactic view. We are moving positions. We're gonna stay here and move this way. Stay grouped.
Send your traffic.
Come on. Man, these came in the opposite way I thought they did. You guys should have been facing this way already. He came in backwards. Oh well, not a big correction. Nothing on radar. Might be good to create a tiny scout ship that can outrun these, but for now everything's gonna stay grouped together.
Standing by.
And
On the
move
move.
down that way. Anything on radar yet? Nope. But this area isn't that big. They should pop up hopefully soon. Although if they chose to come in from the bottom, then maybe not. Alrighty.
Standing by.
Okay. So the beam's got a little bit of position. What's the max range on those beams? I should have read about those.
Standing by.
Alright. Let's get our position lower in. Let's move this
We're on the way,
way.
Commander.
I should almost get the whole asteroid field in range. There we go.
Quiet. Command's on the line. We're being targeted. Looks like we're being jammed.
Receiving.
We can do that too.
Beginning jam.
Hostile lock detected.
How can we help today, Commander?
We need to burn.
Spiker. Roger that.
Our sensors are all over the place.
Okay, burn
Our
didn't
signal's
really.
being jammed. Yes,
We got another burner.
Our signal's being jammed. Right away, Commander.
They got a
How can
buzzer
we
out
help
there.
today,
Commander. Enemy missile detected.
Brace for enemy fire.
They're taking shots at us.
We're almost out of missiles. Looks like we're being jammed.
Time to move.
We're being jammed. Aye, Commander. We're moving. Enemy missile detected. Ceasefire. We lost him.
Flank speed.
We're being jammed. Aye. Scopes out. Scopes out. They got a buzzer out there. Receiving. Hostile spiker on the scope. Scopes out. They're screwing with the sensors, Commander.
There we go.
Our ship is jammed.
Jamming me in. They're screwing with the sensors, Commander.
Brace for missile impact! Opponent wrecked!
The component's been lost. Send it. And Shots out. Waiting orders.
One of you's got a.
Talk to us.
Did I lose a ship already?
How can we help today?
Enemy missile incoming.
Sending it. Ready. They locked onto us. Missile out.
Hostile fire inbound.
Send your traffic.
We need to orbit.
We've been locked on. We're being jammed.
Orbit. What was it? This one.
Aye, Commander. We're moving.
What do you want?
We're being jammed.
Locked on. We can't do that, Commander.
Standing by.
Okay.
Outgoing missile. Spiker.
We're ready whenever you are.
Go ahead, Command. They're shooting at us. Spiker on scope.
Proceed.
She can't do it anymore,
Go
Command.
ahead, Command.
We lost them.
Sending it on. It'll be
Spiker,
done, Spiker. Take him out.
Weapon free. I lost one.
At the ready, Commander.
Waiting orders. ECM on hostile spiker on the scope. Let's blind them.
We have you loud and clear. We lost
Take
a
it to
module.
him.
We
Can't
take
see
him out.
anything.
Fire guns.
We're taking damage.
Hostile spiker on the scope.
Sending it. Got you 5 by 5. Outgoing missile.
Keep going. Orbit.
Aye. Full power.
Proceed.
You're dead.
Standing by.
We can't take anymore. Begin evac.
Hostile fire inbound.
Oh,
Being jammed.
that way. Okay, that's how it happens when a shit goes critical.
We've been locked on. We're under attack, Commander. Send your traffic. Firing a missile. Outgoing missile. We got a buzzer out there. It'll be done, Commander. Go ahead, Command. Zeroing in. Understood. Engaging. Missile out. Firing a missile. Outgoing missile. It'll be done, Commander.
Fire beam. Can I take out at least one of them?
Standing by. Beginning jam.
We've
Damn.
spent most of our missiles. Send your traffic.
Okay.
Beginning the attack.
Fire that laser.
Our sensors are being jammed.
You're fine.
Waiting for your orders, Commander. Preparing lock.
Standing by, Commander. Plotting firing solution. Affirmative. Engaging.
Target lost. Beginning sweep.
They got jams.
Yes, Commander. Affirmative. Engaging.
Keep it up.
Fire the missile! Our
This
missile
one-
racks are running low.
This ship's living a lot longer than those other two ships. Probably because the missiles are gone. Alright.
Get a move on!
Now I'm by the asteroid.
Missile out!
Oh wait, those are direct fire missiles. Those won't work.
Receive.
We lost him! Cease fire!
ECM online.
What now, Commander? Full power! Full impact! We're a bit busy, Commander. Missile out!
Come on. Get around.
Open fire! Stop shooting! We lost him!
You need to get around this asteroid.
Receive. Enemy has us locked down. Forming up. We're taking fire.
We have you loud and clear. Outgoing. Acquiring lock. They've got us dialed in. Our sense missile away. Missile away. Launch order received. Missile away. Missile away. Firing the missile. Firing the missile. Missile out.
my heading.
Let's get the hell out of here! Open fire!
I need a lock.
Lock them in! Launch the missile! Fire the missile! Launch the missile!
Fire guns. Man, my other two ships really took damage.
We're ready whenever you are.
Jam these ships.
ECM online. Hold fire, we lost the target.
We're almost out of missiles! We're a bit busy, Commander.
They're locking on us. Hostile fire inbound.
Missile away! Missile out!
Radar
Fire the
return
missile!
negative.
They're locking on! Keep firing! Immediately! They're dialing us in!
Alright, I think this is
Components
it.
destroyed! We're losing components!
Now the command, those command things are gone. Not receiving anymore. This is it.
Waiting orders. Receiving.
You need to break off.
Underway.
Fucking bail.
They're locking on us. Hostile
Can
fire
they catch up?
inbound. Waiting for your orders, Commander.
Keep your head pointed at them.
We've got a low power warning.
They're moving targets. Can't give orders. Are they still firing? I think they are. I'm being chewed up.
Power is restored.
I don't think I got enough crew left. The locker is dead itself. Okay.
Waiting orders.
Where are you going?
Target lost. Beginning sweep.
Man, you are still alive. Alright, well, you can tell.
Proceed.
They got no more high-powered missiles probably to try to get me out. But this will do it. That's my reactor, isn't it? No, that's the cannon. The whiplash drive. Okay. Is there a way to end these engagements early? I guess. Alright. That I did terrible at. Okay. Looks like learning to engage with those missiles early is the way to go. Or at least defend yourself well so they run out, because people are going to rely on them. And then from there, target ships. Now, going against the computer might be slightly harder than going against other people, at least novice people, because of the number of decisions the computer can probably make well before you can. Damage dealt. He dealt. Damage repaired, damage... Okay. This formation's weird, but it's kind of too all over the place. I'd rather have a more focused formation. Like, hey, you are the scout ship, you are the missile boat, you are the direct damage dealer. So we'll look at that later. But I've been MoonStorm. We'll look at the fleet editor, and from there maybe we'll try some multiplayer. How many people are online? Okay. 3K missions. Okay. So we'll next time let's try some multiplayer. I'll maybe offline. I'll look at some ships to see which formation I like to control, and from there. Maybe I'll build the ships too, because direct beams. Let's not worry about them. Let's do what we know. Let's do the cannons and missiles. I'm pretty sure you could build a ship around beams. That's fine, whatever. But the rest of these, some people already are loading mods. But next time, looks like people play around 3K, so we'll see. Maybe we'll do I just do one bigger ship and then two scouty ships? We'll see what I can come up with. But having the one ship in that formation that solely jammed kind of was like a waste, I think. You want... I mean, if it was the scout ship, then maybe, but who knows? Although, if a ship is jamming, I don't think it can do anything else, so maybe that was the right call, that your jammer ship just doesn't do anything else. Alright. Well, we'll call this good. It's been a lot of, in a high intense game of learning. We learned how to do all the controls. I could be better at them, but yeah. Next time, after I'll look through the fleet, as I said, I'll look through, see what's good, what formation most comfortable with, and we'll use that to see if we do a lot better. Alright. Let's exit out of here. And let's see who's available to raid. Alrighty. I think I've got an idea.
Get some more fish this time. I'll get all the fish.
The glow's on. Let's go ahead and raid the glow. And raid, and have a good night.